Hey YouTube, it's JP Dillon. Today we're looking at a 1970s Teac A-3340S. This was the famous 4-channel reel-to-reel that all the garage bands wanted because you could do the simul-sync and basically overdub over every track you laid down so that you could make yourself a nice little homemade band. This belongs to one of the curators of the Steel Guitar Preservation Society in East Tennessee. And funny story about it is he bought it from a guy that I serviced for back when he was in San Diego, and he moved to East Tennessee as well, so everything's kind of following me here. And the problem with this is that it recently stopped working. You can see that it powers up, and right now you can see that even with this engaged, there's no movement of the capstan. Everything is, kind of still and not doing squat. So there's a fair chance that the safety switches inside have failed. This is becoming more and more common with these. They're just a couple of micro switches that press up against the compliance arm and they lose contact, or the bimetallic spring inside fails and they no longer provide any connectivity. But there's a catch. You got to get ones that are 100 gram force of actuation or less, otherwise they don't work. So we're going to take this one apart and we're going to test the switches and make sure that they're in fact dead. And I have some replacements that I use that should be adequate. They're about 0.96 newtons, which I think is 101 gram force, so we'll see if that works or not. But let's get it apart first. So with the back off, we need to get to that specific area down there where the little black thing is. That's our set of micro switches. There's two of them stacked on top of each other. And that's a matter of unplugging our logic board. There's two screws here to take this panel off and the thrust bearing for the flywheel. And then we should be able to get to that. So let's go ahead and remove the two screws. There should be one up in there and another one behind here. In fact, we might have to remove this preamp board in order to get to it, but that's just one screw right here. So let's get everything out of the way and let's see how accessible everything is. Okay, so with everything out of the way, you can see that we have access to the micro switches there, and you can see that the cam kind of rides in the switches, and when it moves, it pushes on the plungers there, and it's supposed to activate the switches. We don't hear either of them clicking. Quiet as a church mouse. You should be hearing click, click, click as they engage and disengage. So the two switches are defective. And so what we have to do is remove the two screws, and then be aware that there is a bakelite piece at the very back that will fall down, so be prepared to catch it. And in the middle of the two, there is an isolation plate which the tension spring you see there is attached to. That needs to be maintained as well. On occasion, you'll see those spark suppressors die, which I think are a 0.1 microfarad in series with 120 ohm. Occasionally the caps will short and the motor will remain on all the time, or the logic will remain active all the time, so that's something to keep a note of as well. So let's go ahead and remove the two screws, pull everything out, and then we'll ohm them out and we'll see what condition the switch is in. Alright, so we pulled the switches out and we can see the little bakelite insulator resting back there, and I moved the cardboard to the side there and it's just kind of resting. Just make sure that you don't lose a little spring attached to anything. But here are the switches. We've kind of pulled them aside. I can press on them and they don't click. That one clicks if you press it real hard, but it's really faint. So one of them doesn't work at all, and the other one you got to press kind of firmly in order to do that. So let me show you what I'm replacing these with. And coincidentally, these are my last two. These are Honeywell's. You can see here. See if I can get a close-up on the part number. So they're the V15S05-CZ100-01. So they're 100, that means they're supposed to be 100 gram force, what is it, 5 amp? Yeah, 5 amp, 100 gram force, micro switches. These work pretty decently. I got these at Mauser. They're not terribly expensive. I think they're about $7 a piece. But this should work for my needs. The pinout's a little bit different. You can see here that our common is where my thumb is. And normally open is next up, and then normally closed is at the top. Whereas the old ones, normally open is at the bottom, and normally closed is at the top. So I guess, yeah, well, maybe it isn't any different. I must have been thinking of another switch, but yeah, so basically we're just going to move the wires from one switch to another. I thought these were a different pinout for some reason. But yeah, that one's got to press that really hard, and then it doesn't want to release. These are definitely a little bit lighter force. The way that you can check it is you can put these in place, mount them up without wiring them, and just see if the compliance arm works correctly, if it returns properly, if it lifts up and engages properly. But in the past, these have worked. So I'm just going to go ahead and transfer the wiring, solder them up, and install them, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I got the replacement soldered in here, making happy clicking noises. I just need to mount them up, and basically that bakelite mount there is going to go up in the very front, then the first switch, then the cardboard thingy, then the second switch. So yeah, I'm definitely going to need both hands for this, so give me a moment while I put all this back together. Alright, so for all of the novices out here, I detached the spring from the little nubbin there on the compliance arm, so you can see how it's supposed to go. You got the bakelite thing up front, the first switch, the second switch with the spring attached, like that. That's how it's supposed to go. And then you can finagle it in here, tighten the screws down, and then get a hook tool or something so that you can attach it to the compliance arm. And you may have to lift up on the compliance arm to finagle it in there. It's definitely a two-hand job. I'm sorry I can't show you a better feel, because if I set the camera up on a tripod, it's in the way of my hands, and I can't get my hands in there to reattach the switch and the compliance spring and everything. So yeah, you're going to have to bear with me while I reassemble this thing. Okay, so here it is mounted up. I have not attached the spring yet, but you can see how that goes. And when I lift up on the compliance arm now, we hear click 1 and click 2, and we can see the plungers moving. So both are making contact now. The old switches were not. So now we just need to finagle the loop of that spring there around that little hook, which requires a hook tool. If you try to do it without a hook tool, and you can do it, you're pretty dexterous, but I need a hook tool, and I've been doing this 30 years, so last thing you want is that spring to fly off into the machine. So just be careful, go slow, and you'll get it. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to demonstrate the delicacy of this procedure, but we can try. I don't think I'll be able to do it. I think I'm going to need two hands. Get my hook tool in here. Yeah, I can tell right now it's going to fight me. But anyway, you use the hook tool to get it into the spot, and you use a second hand to push it onto the little loop thing there. But that's the way to do it. So let me just get it on there. Alright, so it's on there, as you can see. Wasn't easy, but that's how it's supposed to work. supposed to bring it back down. I think I might put a little tiny bit of like super lube on there or something. Just the tiniest little bit. But otherwise, it is working. That's how it's supposed to work. Let me show you the super lube stuff. So there's the super lube. It's a multi-purpose grease. It's food safe, dielectric. You can buy this stuff on Amazon or pretty much anywhere that major lubricants are sold. So we're going to put a little dab of this on the cam with a Q-tip just to smooth it out a little bit so there's a less likely chance of it to bind. So I may need two hands to do this, but what I'm going to do is run this all the way up top like you see here, and we're just going to lightly massage the cam if I can get to it with the super lube here. Just get it down in there, and it'll propagate easily enough. But see, that's what I'm worried about, is it binding like that? So what we can do to address that, grab this here. I gotta see this up just a little bit more. If you see it bind like this, don't button it back up until you fix that problem. See how it's still sticking? So loosen the two screws. Loosen the top one just a hair. And loosen the bottom one. And then push the plunger side of the switch out until it releases like that. So that makes it a lot happier. You just want to push the plunger side out this way as far as it'll go, and then you can tighten down the mounts, making sure that that's again out as far as it goes away from the cam. If you had something less than 100 gram forces, it would be a lot easier. Just work this in. And if you're still worried about it, which is this one's looking like it's a little bit problematic, we can move the tension spring to the upper tier there. So you got one on the bottom, and you got one on the top. So we're going to move it to the upper tier, and then we'll recheck it. Okay, so we got this all back together. We've got it on the second tier now. And now I can lift up on this, and it returns properly without hanging up. So that's kind of what I want. So that's a good thing. Now what we can do is reassemble this thing, test our logic, make sure everything's happy with it. Make sure that you've got these all secured down. Make sure they're snug but not too tight. And listen for the 2 clicks. One, two, 2, 1. 1, 2, 2, 1. Both of them should be firing. So let's put it back together enough to run it and see what it does. Okay, we got everything back together. Our switch is still working like it should be. So let's plug it in and see what it does next. Okay, so I should be able to turn this on. Did I not see the power cord correctly? I did not have it seated correctly. There we go. So now when I lift this up, the motor should start. There it goes. When I lower it, it should stop. Alright, let's thread the tape. And we should have playback. Alright. Fast forward. Rewind. Yeah, we're good. So I'm not going to play any of the music that's on this tape because of copyright reasons, but you get it now. The compliance arm switches are fixed. It's operating normally now. And this gentleman can go on about digitizing his tapes. So hope you guys enjoy the video. More stuff to come.